As many of you know, last New Year's Eve, after I was involved in a small physical altercation, my 360 PD from Smith & Wesson was taken from me by the POPO, and I ain't never getting it back. So today I want to do a list of what I think are the top 5 small frame revolvers that I might choose to replace it. Hey everybody, Yankee here. You know, whatever gun I choose to replace my 360 PD with is going to have to be good at the same things that gun was good at. And that gun was my deep concealment gun. It was the one I went to when I wanted something small and light and easy to conceal, something nobody would know you were carrying. Heck, I barely knew I was carrying it. So any gun I choose will have to be similar, have to be good for the same things. And I've narrowed it down to 5 potential replacements. So today I want to go over, like I said, my top 5 small frame revolvers for self-defense that might potentially replace my Smith & Wesson 360 PD. And we're going to start at number 5. And at number 5, we have a good old mainstay in the small revolver market. It is the Ruger LCRX. Now, the Ruger LCRX can hold 5 rounds of 357 Magnum or 9mm or 38 Special or 6 rounds of 32. It weighs in at about 17.1 ounces. And one of the biggest pros of this gun, other than that it has been around for a while and it's well proven, is that you can have it in so many calibers. You can pretty much choose what you want. Now, the biggest con for this one is I don't really care all that much for the polymer frame. It's just something I don't really love. But still, it's on this list, so it's obviously a very good gun. Now at number 4 on my list is a classic. In fact, it's part of Smith & Wesson's classic line that they've brought back, so it doesn't have a lock on it, so that's a good thing. And it is the Smith & Wesson Model 36. Now the 36 is chambered in 5 rounds of 38 Special, and it weighs in at 19.64 ounces. So it's a little heavier than the LCRX, but you know, it's 38 Special. That little bit of a heavier gun with the 38 Special round is going to be easy to control, but that's not even the best thing. The best thing about this gun is it's just downright beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful J-frames on the market today. Now you might say that the con is that it's 38 Special, but you know, I'm fine with 38 Special for self-defense, especially up close. So that isn't really a con for me. The only real con with this gun is that the front sight is fixed. You can't really get a replacement sight for it. It's part of the barrel. Like I said, it's a classic line gun. So that's really the only negative, but otherwise, this gun is awesome. All right, at number 3 on the list, we have a relative newcomer. It is the Diamondback SDR. Now, the one I would choose would be the black nitride version of this gun. And this gun is chambered in 357 Magnum. In fact, it's chambered in 6 rounds of 357 Magnum. And it is the second heaviest gun on the list, but it's still not very heavy at 21.2 ounces. And the biggest pro for this gun is that extra round. Even in the higher calibers, like the 357 Magnum, you get that 6th round instead of 5 like a lot of the other guns. So that is a big pro for this gun. But a con for this gun is it's the least proven on the list. Like I said, it is one of the heavier ones on the list, but the biggest problem with it is that it hasn't been around for a very long time, so it doesn't have much of a track record. Now, I did have one of these guns that they gave me. I thought it was great for the short period of time I had it, but then I gave it away for a fundraiser for an animal charity. So I didn't get to have it long. So like I said, that not being well proven is one of the biggest cons for this gun. But otherwise, this gun has a lot of potential. All right, at number 2 is the most similar gun to the 360 PD. It is another titanium cylindered gun. And it is the Smith & Wesson 432. I believe it's called the Ultimate Carry. Now this gun is chambered in the 32 H&R, and it does hold 6 rounds. So that puts it as one of the higher capacity guns on the list, since it does have that 6th round. Now it's not quite 357 Magnum, but it is still a perfectly potent round for up close self-defense. And also, this is the lightest gun on the list. With that titanium cylinder, it's about half the weight of the heaviest gun on this list, and it weighs in at about 13 ounces. Very light. Now, the biggest pros to this gun is that it is so light, it disappears when you're carrying it. It's very similar to the 360 PD. But what I like most about this one is that you have that extra round and you actually have a real rear sight. It's not just a gutter sight. They actually put real sights on this one. So that is a big plus. Now, the only con to this gun is that it's double action only. There is no external hammer. It's an internal hammer, so you don't have the option of cocking that hammer for the really accurate first shot. That is the only con to this gun, which is why it's at number 2. All right, now we're to number 1. And number 1 on the list is the Colt Night Cobra Special. Now, this gun is chambered in 38 Special plus P, so it is not the most powerful one on the list, but it does have 6 rounds of 38 Special. So you do get an extra round over a lot of the 5-shot guns. It's just not quite as powerful, but still plenty powerful for, like I said, up-close self-defense. Now, this gun is the heaviest gun on the list since it is an all-steel gun weighing in at 25 ounces, but that actually isn't a negative to me because it's still light enough to carry very easily, small enough to carry very easily. But with it being 38 Special plus P and having that little bit of extra weight, it's going to be a lot better to shoot than my 360 PD was. I did not like shooting that thing. It didn't have the greatest trigger, and it was very snappy. The Colt, however, won't be nearly as snappy, and that's the biggest pro. The 38 Special plus P with a little bit heavier frame, that's going to make this gun so much easier to shoot. Plus, it has by far the best trigger of the bunch. The Colt trigger is amazing. I love it. So I really like that aspect of it. Plus, it's also the most beautiful gun on the list. It's a really nice looking black gun with the traditional grips. So I really, really like the looks of it. It's very well made. And the only con really to it is that it isn't in 357. So if you want 357, that would be a con. To me, it's not really that big of an issue. So I'm going to say, to me, the biggest con is it is the heaviest gun. It won't disappear quite like the 13-ounce guns on this list, but still, it is a great gun for carry, and that's why it's at number 1 on my list. So there you have it. There's my top 5 options to replace my Smith & Wesson 360 PD that was taken by the POPO. If you were me, which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments section below, or come to our live chats. We do them every night at 6 p.m. Come on in and let me know in person which one of these you would choose. And what that gun did is... So let's start with what I think are the 5, meaning the top 5 can serve the same purpose. So whatever I choose to replace them, Yankee here. Now when it comes to replacing my Smith & Wesson, easy to hide, and the top 5 was good for. And what so that's a big pro to the of small Please hit that like button and share this video on whatever social media you have. Since this is a restricted channel, you're the only chance we have to overcome YouTube's anti-2A bias and discrimination.